discuss the business we have at hand. Heavenly Father, we thank Thee, Heavenly Father, for those who are in attendance here tonight. We ask Thee, Heavenly Father, to give each and every one blessing and guidance and wisdom as we deliberate on the business at hand, Heavenly Father. We always, Heavenly Father, thank You for the blessings that You've given our community. We ask Thee, Heavenly Father, to continue to bless it, bless our state, certainly bless our nation, Heavenly Father. Please watch over and protect our men and women in armed services and those who provide public safety around the world for us, Heavenly Father, so that we can be here tonight without fear. All these things we ask and pray in the blessed name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Place flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Kittrell, if you'd call the roll for us, please.
Vice Mayor Overton.
Present.
Mr. Alexander's not here yet. Mr. Camp.
Present.
Mr. Fennell.
Here.
Mr. Hayes.
Present.
Ms. Love. Mr. Mayberry.
Here.
Mayor, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of the minutes from the September 5th, 2017 council meeting.
Motion approved.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilman Camp. Are there any additions, corrections? Did anyone? Ms. Love says no.
I love the way you all defer to me.
Well, you have proven so good at that, so thank you. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the minutes from the September 5th, 2017 council meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say no. They are approved. Now is the time in this meeting for public recognition, and this is public recognition for agenda-related items. There will be a time later in the meeting where you may address items that are not on the agenda. Also in tonight's meeting, there are 6 public hearings. 3 of those public hearings are related to Avery Park, and 3 of them are related to Langford Farms. So if you wish to speak on those items, that would be the appropriate time, but at this time, we will say that public recognition on agenda-related items is open. We ask that you introduce yourself and give us your address as well.
Mayor and council members, thank you. My name is Mike Stanton. I represent Avery Park. I wanted to get up first and say thank you for the time that you guys have allowed us to be here before you to talk about Avery Park. We know this is a non-action meeting tonight, but we will be asking beyond this meeting for an indefinite deferral to give us some time to evaluate the viability of the project and to also research alternative development methods and options. So wanted to state that early, so that if there's anybody in the public that has any questions about that, I mean, we are going to be asking for an indefinite deferral.
Thank you, Mr. Stanton.
Good evening. Good evening. My name's Al Plord. I'm a resident on Dickerson Bay Drive. Been a resident out there for about almost 21 years. Tonight what I'd like to present is a electronic petition signed by almost 900 people that were objecting to this project. I realize it might be moot, but it represents the sentiment of the neighborhood. Secondly, what I'd like to do is, one, thank the developer for the deferral, but I would also like to offer a method for us to be involved in some way, such that we can retain the character of our neighborhood, the safety of our neighborhood. I think one of the main objections that we had was it was a feeling of blindsided. It kind of came at us. We didn't really know what was going on. We were scattered and we weren't organized, but we are organized now. We are not objecting to development, but rather the way it was proposed, the design, which we found lacking. But I believe that can be fixed through transparency and open discussion between the developer and the neighborhood. So what I'm proposing is a formation of a neighborhood representative committee that would be allowed to be involved in the design and the process. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Plourd. Anyone else wishing to speak under public recognition on agenda-related items this evening? Okay, I see no one indicating they wish to speak, so I'll declare public recognition on agenda-related items closed. Next item on the agenda is mayor's comments. I have just compliments for some of our city employees who worked last week in the difficult weather, certainly with the public works folks, but I know that GPU and our electric department probably had some challenges as a result as well. The rest of the city on the first responder side and even our in-city hall staff were all kind of jumping and working to get things going. Also really appreciate the patience of the community. I know when there is bad weather that there are always challenges with roads. Nobody's road gets cleaned quickly enough, and after the ice and the snow goes away, there's potholes, and none of the potholes get filled quickly enough, but we're working on all of those things. And the city citizens have been most understanding. They're also being very understanding this week of the work that's going on the square. So thanks to our citizens for bearing with that. We are replacing those crosswalks, replacing them with stamped concrete. Currently there are brick crosswalks there and they're failing. And so we are hopeful that this new installation will have much longer lasting effects. And from one that we put in, I guess it was last year, they seem to be doing really well. So I think in the long run that these will serve us better. I would encourage our residents to work to frequent our merchants on the square. They suffered last week as a result of the weather. They're suffering this week as a result of the closure of the square. So if you'd make an extra effort to park in the City Hall parking lot and walk over there and show them some love, I know they would appreciate it. And I think that would be it under Mayor's comments. So, oh, we are going to miss a birthday between now and our next meeting, Councilman Hayes. February 3rd? All right. Excellent. So that will conclude Mayor's comments and will take us to the agenda. And the first item on the agenda is the public hearing on Resolution R1801-3, and Councilman Hayes is recognized for that.
Yeah, this is a public hearing. It's a resolution of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, adopting a plan of services upon the annexation of 44.39-acre parcel located south and west of Douglas Bend Road in a segment of Douglas Bend Road right-of-way and providing for an effective date. This is a public hearing, and I'm assuming this is 1, 2, and 3. Are we still going to do the public hearing even though?
will.
Okay. This public hearing.
Yes, so the public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to speak may come forward and speak on this. There are two. They're going to sound very similar. You may speak under any of them, but we do have to go through the process. Also, probably should mention at this point, and Ms. McCauley can correct me, but were this to move forward, we would notice this again because we're required to give 2 weeks public notice on a public hearing, and we weren't able to do that when we changed the meeting. So there will be future opportunities for public hearings. We tried to put that information out there when we changed the meeting last week, but that is the circumstances, just so everyone is aware. Public hearing's open. Come forward if you wish to speak. Okay, I see no one indicating they wish to speak, so I will declare public hearing. Okay, come forward. Make sure you introduce yourself and give us your address,
My name is
please.
Bobby Gold. I live at 515 Douglas Bend Road. And I know this is probably kind of a moot point, but the bottom line is, about a year ago, Mr. Bruce Rainey, I know that y'all are trying to do this and take over the county road and all this kind of stuff. About a year ago, Mr. Bruce Rainey told me that the county could do anything with that road they wanted to, regardless. And I've noticed in the planning meeting that everybody was all excited that the county just paved this road. I'm all excited that they paved it. It needed paving. But when you stop and think about it, the county can do anything they want to with this road, but the taxpayers was the one that paid to have this road paved and to keep it up and stuff like this. So I don't think it's fair for the county just to say, we're going to give our, what the taxpayers in the county work for away to the city. And y'all may feel real good about that, but I don't think it's quite right. And, and if y'all feel it is, I guess you're going to do what you're going to do. And I doubt if there's anything that anybody can say to change anybody's vote on this. But I just wanted that brought to your attention, and that road is only 9 feet wide. The lanes were 9 feet wide, and I know that they got a variance, and I know that they got a variance on a couple other things, but if you're gonna set a bunch of rules up, you ought to at least abide by your own rules. Does that not make sense? So, anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Goode. Anyone else wishing to speak in this public hearing?
Brandon Clark, 429 Douglas Bend Road, right in the curve where the roundabout's going to be. From what I've gathered, talking with the county commission, as we spoke for in the last meeting, we have to have an interlocal agreement with the roadway and the county before we can annex, and I don't really know what tonight's meeting is about. I'm unfamiliar with this whole process, but I know we have not taken those steps with the county for the interlocal agreement to take control of that roadway. So I know we had an indefinite deferral tonight on that, but I just want to make sure that that was pointed out early in the night, that that has not been reached or even given to the planning commission for the county yet. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Anyone else wishing to speak on this public hearing? Okay, I see no one indicating they wish to speak, so I will declare public hearing on Resolution R1801-3 closed. Item 2 is public hearing on Resolution R1801-4, and Councilman Hayes is again recognized.
Yeah, this is a resolution of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, annexing a 44.39 acre parcel located south of and west of Douglas Bend Road, and a segment of Douglas Bend Road right-of-way to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, authorizing the assignment of annexed area to a council district, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is now open. You may come forward if you wish to speak.
They said you got to. City attorney did.
Okay, I see, I'm sorry, did you have a question, Mr.
Yeah.
McDaniel?
Susan, why, if they're deferring this entire project, then why are we doing anything?
Because it was noticed in the newspaper that people could come and speak on this issue.
But why are we continuing with voting on a resolution?
We're not
We're not
voting on
voting.
it.
Okay.
This is just
Just
public
public
hearing.
Okay, on the resolution.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes, there's no vote tonight. This is
there's no
just the
voting.
public hearing. So I see no one indicating they wish to speak, so I'm going to declare public hearing on Resolution R1801-4 closed. Item 3 is public hearing on Ordinance 01801-3, and Councilman Hayes.
It's an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, rezoning a 44.39 acre parcel from the Sumner County RA Residential A District to the R10 Medium Density Residential Planned Residential Development District, and approving a preliminary master development plan for Avery Park. This is a public hearing.
Okay, this is the final public hearing on Avery Park. Anyone wishing to speak should take this opportunity. And I see no one indicating that they wish to speak, so I'll declare public hearing on Ordinance 01801-3 closed. Item 4 is public hearing on Resolution R1801-1. Councilman Alexander is not here, and Councilman Hayes has volunteered to take that. Thank you.
Yeah, this is also a public hearing. It's a resolution of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, adopting a plan of services upon the annexation of a parcel consisting of 80.243 acres located west of Old Douglas Lane, east of Highway 109, and north of Hidden Trail Private Road, and providing for an effective date. This is a public hearing.
Okay, this public hearing is now open, and if you'd like to speak to this, you may come forward at this time. Again, we ask that you introduce yourself and give us your address, please.
Hello, I'm Catherine Dake. I'm speaking in regard to property that I own on Old Douglas Lane, which is next door to the property that is supposed to be sold on Harrison's farm.
Would you give us your address, please? Address, please, your address.
1043 Nichols Circle.
Thank you.
Gallatin. I don't know whether you all have been out there or not, but this property floods every time it comes a real heavy sprinkle. There's a concrete bridge right before you get to this property, that all the brush and everything piles up on, and it's barely able for 2 cars to pass. This road is barely able for 2 cars to get by in some areas of it, and when it floods, it is blocked off totally. I just feel this is the wrong decision for this property, and it's in the county right now, and it's always been in the county. But if the city wants to annex it, I have no problem with that, but I don't think it's right to build a big subdivision back there. It'll put too much traffic on this one Old Douglas Lane, and I just think it's a bad situation. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Dake.
My name is Wayne Miller, represent Goodall Homes, and first I just want to thank you guys for your time and consideration for looking at our proposed neighborhood, Langford Farms, and really we're just looking forward to continuing to work with not only with you, but also the county as we move forward to making this a great piece of what we think is going to be a very good contributable, attainable housing for Gallatin. So,
May I interrupt and ask that
Absolutely.
you give us an address since you're in the public hearing?
absolutely, I'm actually at 240 Leah Court. So if you guys have any questions or concerns, we'll be here. Also, our engineers will be here tonight, and so we'll just feel free to ask us any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Good evening. My name is Brad Langford. I actually do not live in Gallatin. I'm representing my parents, Jack and Ima Langford, who are here, that do live at 255 Old Douglas Lane. My sister is here as well. We have placed the property for sale, made it listed. Goodall and another builder in the community approached us. Due to a long relationship with Mr. Goodall Sr., with my dad, and their offer, we reached an agreement with Goodall. They have been nothing but above board and have kept us communicated on the whole process. We completely agree with their idea for the property. As you can tell, they honored us with naming rights, calling it Langford Farms. My dad's parents, my grandparents, bought the property in 1945. So it's very emotional and very connected to us. And so it's not without much thought that we haven't worked with Goodall on this. We understand their challenges. There's challenges with doing anything. But I believe Goodall has put their best foot forward and communicated, and we're very pleased with the progress at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Langford. Anyone else wishing to speak under this public hearing?
My name is Carl Newby. I live at 375 Old Douglas Lane, just down the road, or up the road, whichever. I agree with Ms. Dake in that she may not live there, but I do. 2010, which was an extremely unusual year, the flood came through. It blew the road out. I have pictures. All the pavement was dislodged on both sides of the road. Also, when the bypass was constructed, there was, unfortunately, many accidents further up the road at Old 109. So there was some finagling of the middle part of the road, which caused inconveniences to those drivers to come through there. They have done some good work with that and got some of it straightened out. But this road has become a cut-through from the bypass all the way into Gallatin. My wife and I used to walk that road because it was safe. You might meet a car every once in a while. We walk at the Civic Center now. It's not safe. Anyone who walks that road will take their life into their own hands. There's been one accident where I don't know if it was the person ran off the road. I think the person was a little bit on the tipsy side, but they cleaned out a tree. But today there was a construction truck that was on that road, and we were off the road trying to get by that truck so we wouldn't hit it. So the road is way too narrow. It was like made for horse and buggies, and now they've turned it into an interstate, so to speak. When you come through there, you know, I have to watch when I get my mail. So I do not know how there's going to be some planning from above that's going to have to get all of that traffic that's going to be generated on that road and somebody not get killed or go to the hospital for injuries. If you haven't been on the road, I challenge you, just get on it, drive it. There's two sections of that road that have a one-lane bridge. Although the county has bermed up the corners of that road where you can get two cars around it and people don't have to slow down like they used to years ago. But underneath it is still a one-lane overpass among a couple of creeks. So it is will be very unsafe for all involved. And that road from one end to the other is going to have to be re-examined. And while I'm here, I might as well mention this. It is 375 Old Douglas Lane, and that road is Old Douglas Lane if you're talking in terms of the post office and your mail delivery service. If someone is sick on that road, an illness or something, and they have to call an ambulance, I hope and pray they do not give the address as 375 Old Douglas Lane because, or no, not 375, but at Old Douglas Lane, because they will wind up on the opposite side of 109, somewhere around where Tad Cantrell lives or over near those storage units, because it's Old Douglas Road on our side because of the 911 addresses. So there's a lot of issues that have to be resolved. Plus, one of the major gas lines runs right through the property that you're considering. Major gas line. It comes through our land and goes in front of Bill's house, and that's our neighbor, and also on this property. The gas service, they fly the lines all the time to make sure that everything is okay on it. So I'm hoping somebody's investigated all that. There's a lot to be involved in all this, but the traffic and the danger from that is one of the worst things that I can see as a problem. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Newby. Anyone else wishing to speak under this public hearing?
My name is Betty Reynolds, excuse me, and I live at 1344 Renard Drive. I am one of the 3 agents that are representing the Langfords on this property, and I can honestly say I understand the concerns, but we have great faith that the county and Goodall will work together. Goodall is known for what they build and their due diligence. And to this point, they have been wonderful in doing their due diligence. I'm sure everything will be checked out properly and taken care of. So we and the Langfords hope that this can work out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. Anyone else wishing to speak under this public hearing? Okay, I see no one standing up, so I'm going to say that this public hearing on Resolution R1801-1 is closed. Item 5 is public hearing on Resolution R1801-2. Mr. Hayes, you want to take that too?
Yeah, this is a resolution of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, annexing a 80.243 acre parcel located west of Old Douglas Lane, east of Highway 109, and north of Hidden Trail into the City of Gallatin. This is a public hearing.
Okay, so this public hearing is now open. You may come forward at this time if you wish to speak. Okay, I see no one indicating they wish to speak, so I'll declare public hearing on Resolution R1801-2 closed. And then item 6 is public hearing on Ordinance 1801-1. Councilman Hayes.
This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, rezoning an 80.243 acre parcel from the Agricultural Residential District to MRO Multiple Residential and Office District and approving a preliminary master development plan for Langford Farms. This is a public hearing.
Public hearing is now open. I see someone walking forward.
Good evening. My name is David Code, and I'm with Kimberly Horn and Associates at 214 Oceanside Drive. And we are the engineers of record for this project, and we understand the concerns, conditions that the neighbors have talked about with the gas, with the flooding. All those have been identified and are being worked through the development plan itself, with over 43% of the properties remaining in open space. So we'll continue working with staff here at the city to make sure everything is in full compliance if this project is allowed to move forward and we're allowed to annex into the city and develop a quality development that Goodall is known for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Code. Okay, this is the final public hearing this evening on Langford Farms. If anyone wishes to speak, you should come forward at this time. Okay. If you would come to the podium. Sorry. Nobody else will hear you if you don't.
I might as well get it out of my system. And I just heard the gentleman made mention of those issues that are brought up, which is fine and good.
Introduce yourself again if
Oh,
you
I'm
would,
sorry.
because it's a
Carl
different
Newby,
public hearing.
375 Old Douglas Lane, or Old Douglas Road, whichever you want to pick. Now I lost what I was going to say. The other issue that I did not hear him address was the road issue, whatever happens in that road issue and so forth that needs to be addressed. And that, again, is one of the major concerns that I have with this, even though the other two concerns were certainly valid, and they're going to have to be worked out also. So I just want to make that point clear, that the road is a major problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newby. Okay, this may be the last call, y'all, for the public hearings. I see no one indicating they wish to speak. I will say public hearing on ordinance 1801-1 is closed. Item 7 is second reading on ordinance 01711-94. Councilman Alexander is not here. How about an at-large representative? Mr. Mayberry, do you mind taking that?
Yes, ma'am. It's an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, rezoning a 2.38 plus or minus acre lot, tax map number 1130, Group N, parcel 002.04, from the R10 medium density residential district to the R6 high density residential district located at 599 West Eastland Street, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Mayberry, second by Vice Mayor Overton. Is there any discussion? This is second reading on ordinance 01711-94. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 8 is second reading on ordinance number 01711-96. Councilman Hayes.
Yeah, this is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, rezoning portions of 2 parcels totaling approximately 76.47 acres from the MRO Multiple Residential and Office and PGC Plan General Commercial and MU Mixed-Use Zoning Districts to the R8 Medium Density Residential Planned Residential Development, R8 PRD District, and approval of a preliminary master development plan for Kensington Downs located on south of Long Hollow and west of Greenlee Boulevard, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, and providing for severability and providing for an effective date. Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Hayes, a second by Councilman Fennell, and that opens for discussion if anyone would like to discuss. Mr. McCord says he has something he needs to say, so we'll ask him to come to the podium.
Yes, I just, as was read into the record, there was mentioned it was a 76 acre. Based on y'all's actions at your last council committee meeting, we had changed the acreage and the number of lots to exclude the north 6.9 acres, which was what y'all had agreed to do. So the ordinance that you have before you, the amended ordinance, reflects the 69.56 acres and the master plan that's associated with that.
Thank you, Mr. McCord. That means I failed miserably because I was supposed to ask when we started this. The first item in your in that section is going to be the ordinance as existed. The second one is the amended one, but at this meeting, we do need a proper motion to amend that if that is what you still desire.
I'll make a motion to amend it.
Okay. Motion to amend by Councilman Hayes, second by Vice Mayor Overton. So we will vote on the amendment first. So is there any discussion on the amendment? Okay, I see none, so I would ask that all in favor of that amended ordinance, please, or making the amendment to the ordinance, say aye. Opposed, please say no. Okay, that does pass unanimously, which takes us back to the now amended ordinance and opens the floor for discussion on it. Anyone have anything? Okay, seeing no one wishing to speak, I will call for second reading on ordinance number 01711-96. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Are there any abstentions? It does pass unanimously. Item number 9 is second reading on ordinance number 01712-99. And in Councilman Alexander's absence, would you mind taking this, Councilman Fennell?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance appropriating $836,000 for renovation of the Walter Franklin House. I so move.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Fennell, a second by Vice Mayor Overton. Any discussion on this?
Does it include the elevator? The completion of the elevator?
Rogers is here this evening.
Good evening. The 836 was the original appropriation for the contract that went out to bid. It did not include the cost of an elevator. Per the last work session, we did go out and talk to a company and got an estimated value for the installation, which is approximately $80,000.
So this is not taking out any of those things that we talked about before. We didn't take any of those
Not as listed for second reading.
suggestions out.
No.
You can still do that at this point.
Yeah. I just think whatever you do, the time now is to put an elevator in the shaft, okay? We've got the project. If you're gonna put 15 people, I think that's what, I asked how many employees. If you're gonna if it takes 2 floors to get 15, we need an elevator. And I think as Linda Gale said, last week or the week before, you had about 60 or 70,000.
It was approximately $80,000
About
worth of cost
80,000
savings.
worth of adjustments.
Right.
If you could make those and replace it with the elevator, I think now's the time to do it.
That is an option.
And I think to do that properly, you would have to make an amendment and reduce the scope of the work and add in the elevator.
Is the elevator shaft, is it external or is it internal?
Well, excuse me, it is, I would say a combination. It's attached to the original structure, to the rear, and then as part of the shaft, there will be a lobby added for the access. So I would say it's an attached structure.
Enclosed, accessible.
So does that 80,000, I'm sorry, include the lobby?
The $836,000 that's up for second reading tonight, that is a lump sum bid for the entire project, minus the installation of an elevator. That's the way this number represents what we went out to contract or to bid with for the renovation.
But you just said when you needed a lobby, if you put the elevator in. So
That's part of the 836.
So that's already there.
Yes, yes.
Mayor, I'll make a amendment to it that we reduced total by the savings that he had of $80,000, and we had the elevator into it. And I'll make it in the form of a motion.
You're adding the $80,000 to the 836?
No,
I'm reducing
you're
it.
asking to reduce the scope of the project to be able to
That they've
allow for
already
the
agreed to,
elevator within
that they've
that
already agreed to do,
836.
and add 80, is actually over 80,000. It was more like 100-something thousand. But I'm gonna say reduce it by 80,000 and add the elevator to it. So the total project's still gonna be the 836.
I'll second that.
Kevin? Ms. Hamacali is asking, do we need to articulate exactly what that savings is? But I feel like that there is an opportunity within that. If you're willing to keep the 836 at the same, can we not be general and say reduce by, I mean, it was things like flooring and
It was all
fixtures
listed out in
and so there
the
were-
list that we presented to council.
Could it be all of the things that he suggested in the initial step one reduction, not the step
That's
two
what,
reduction?
that accounts to approximately $80,000.
It's about a dollar per dollar.
Yeah.
if the
Basically, it's
elevator's
dollar
eight.
per dollar.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend by Vice Mayor Overton with a second by, was it Councilman
Fennell,
Fennell?
yes.
Okay, second by Councilman Fennell. Is there any further discussion on this offered amendment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is there, I know the elevator, obviously, we had a lengthy discussion about an occupancy permit on this thing. Okay, so that should satisfy that, hopefully, with Chuck back there or whatnot. What about any sprinklers? Is there anything else that you guys have been debating or discussing about the issuance of an occupancy permit when this thing is all said and done?
To the best of my knowledge, working with our codes department, they have already did an initial review of the plan. They did make comments. We sent back to our architect to revise the plans. So everything has pretty much that they've requested has been visited. So I think we're all on the same field as far as, you know.
So this should suffice?
This should.
Up and down, okay,
Yes.
because it'd be really embarrassing to get all this done, and then we have a conflict on an occupancy permit. So let's get it all cleared out now, and I'm all for it, get it done.
Right. Well, everything that codes has requested, we've asked our architect to revise. So.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to suggest an interference with the amendment because I believe the amendment was just to reduce. You need to clarify you're going to reduce and add back in for the provision of the elevator. So that would, or we could do two amendments, or you could withdraw with your second.
I'll withdraw my second.
I'll withdraw.
And then remake your motion to amend, if you're amenable to that.
How you want to do it, Susan? Make it how you want to say.
Well, you just need to be clear. The original amendment that you said was just to reduce by 80, and what I'm hearing is reduce by 80 but add 80 back for the elevator. So your amendment would be that you're going to reduce by the suggested revisions that were discussed at the work
Correct.
session last week.
That's
But
correct.
then you're going to add back in $80,000
Correct.
for construction of an elevator.
To allow
Correct.
for that addition.
Correct, so moved.
Okay,
Okay.
motion then again for an amendment by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilman Fennell. We go back to discussion.
When can they start?
I mean, now that, you know, second reading, if passes tonight, then we will award, we're ready to award the bid to the contractor. At that point in time, once we do that award, he has 10 days to send back all his required information as far as, bond, and, his insurance, certificate of insurance and all of that. Once we get that, Susan will have to do a full review. Once we get her approval, then he can execute and start work.
Any other discussion on
And the mayor signs the
on the
contract.
amendment?
We've been having trouble water in the basement over there.
It's wide open. I mean, when it rains, it's wide open for, you know, that's why we needed to get
How
this thing
deep
moving.
is it getting in there?
Sir?
We're getting a guarantee on that basement leaking during this construction?
Yes, it was waterproofed with, I mean, it was guaranteed to, you know, the waterproofing that was performed. We even basically used a higher grade product.
So it's
when
dry
we
in there
did it.
now? It's dry?
Well,
I haven't been over there since the snow and the rain, so I mean, we've got a pump that's in there now that's working on a float, so it's a 1.5 inch discharge, so if there shouldn't be water in it now.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay, let's vote on this amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? It does pass unanimously. We go back to the original second reading of the ordinance. Is there any discussion further on it? Okay, I see no one indicating that they wish to discuss further, so this is second reading on ordinance 01712-99. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. Item number 10 is second reading on ordinance 1801-2. Councilman Mayberry.
Yes, ma'am, this is an ordinance awarding a bid and authorizing funds in a total amount of $1,861,000 from water sewer reserves for water line replacements, contract number 117, year 2017. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mayberry, second by Vice Mayor Overton. Any discussion? Okay, this is second reading of ordinance 1801-2. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 11 is second reading on ordinance 01801-4. Councilman Hayes.
It's an ordinance appropriating $61,000 for construction of pedestrian facilities along Volunteer State Community College at both Greensboro Village and Gap Boulevard. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Councilman Fennell. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 01801-4. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? It passed unanimously. It was a little quiet. I had to look around for a bit. Item 12 is first reading on ordinance 01801-5. Vice Mayor Overton.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning 4.63 acre parcel, tax map 125, parcel 032.00 from A Agriculture Residential District to PGC Planned General Commercial District, and a .37 acre parcel from MU Mixed District to Planned General Commercial District, and approving a preliminary master development plan for Greenlee Commons, authorized revision to be indicated on official zoning atlas, repealing conflict of ordinances, providing severability, and providing for an effective date. And I so move.
Motion by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilman Camp. Is there any discussion? This is first reading on ordinance 01801-5. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. It passes unanimously. Item 13 is first reading on ordinance 01801-6. Vice Mayor Overton.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning 10.39 acres from PBP Planned Business Park District to MRO Multiple Residential Office District. 3.84 acres from PGC to MRO, 0.49 acres from PBP District to Planned General Commercial District, and approving a preliminary master development plan for Oxford Square. Authorized revisions to be indicated on official zoning atlas, repealing conflict of ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And I so move.
Motion by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilman Fennell. Any discussion?
Hey, did they make any changes to that brick?
Yeah, did you see the plan they passed out?
I did, but I can't tell if they changed that, except the
Yeah.
percentage.
You look at the pictures and stuff, yeah.
Yes, ma'am, they did show more brick on the facades of both types of buildings. They also, as requested,
Garages, too.
added some garages to the cottage units as well as some of the townhouse units on the west side of the project.
It's getting there.
The applicant is in the audience, can answer some detailed questions if you have any.
You know what the percentage of brick is now?
There's two different types of renderings that are provided here. On page 54, the type D shows the townhouse, which apparently exceeds the brick veneer that they're showing would exceed the 70% or equals 70%, and the townhouse units would indicate that every other unit would have a facade that would be brick. So in some cases, you have 3 units aligned and some more than 3. So it's
The
just
representative
short
has
of
stepped forward if
70%
you
on the
guys want
townhouses, I
to
believe.
let him
right?
speak.
Yeah. Randy Chastain, Parkside Builders. We average over 60% now on all the townhouses on all the perimeter when you combine it all.
Thank you.
Guys, I commend y'all on the changes
Thank you.
for it. I really do. I commend you for it, so thanks a lot.
Any more questions from anyone?
How many garages did you put in? You listened to us like, you did great, and I appreciate it.
42 garages.
And 60% of the total project,
Well, on all the townhouses have
60% of the number of townhouses?
Correct.
Okay.
Of all types.
All right.
Plus brick on the corners of every side street.
That's good. That's good. You did good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Questions, discussion? Okay, this is first reading on ordinance 01801-6. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? It does pass unanimously. Item 14 is first reading on ordinance 1801-7. Councilman Fennell, would you take this, please?
Yes, I will.
Oh,
Mayor.
yes, we do have, you want to go first on this?
Yes,
and
but
comment?
before you vote on this, I want everyone to look at their desk. There is a new revised ordinance. There's a new amount that Mr. Wilkinson got in. It doesn't have to be amended because this is the first reading, but I want to make sure that everyone is aware that the amount has changed to $11,050. Make sure that everyone's clear on that when they're voting.
Yes, this is an ordinance appropriating $11,050 for asbestos abatement at 403 Brooks Alley, and I so move.
The new ordinance says, and 549 Small Street. It's the one that's on your
Sorry.
desk. You're okay.
You may reread it again?
No. I think we're clear.
Okay.
If your motion is applicable to that. Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Vice Mayor Overton, and that increase is because they did get a bid back on the second asbestos abatement, so that is why that's gone up in price, and you knock out 2 properties with 1. Any discussion on this? Questions? Okay, this is going to be the new ordinance of 1801-7. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 15 is first reading of ordinance 01801-8, and Councilwoman Love is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance awarding contract and authorizing funds in the amount of $6,900,000 $900,000 from water/sewer and natural gas reserves for advanced metering infrastructure contract with the C.I. Thornburg Company, Inc. I so move.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Love, a second by Councilman Camp. Did you second that? Okay. Any discussion on this?
Point out, this is just to change all the meters throughout the city where they're read in-house and save on the guys walking around reading the meters.
Automatic metering. We got a nice presentation last week explaining this and the benefits to the city and to the residents. And I think it's particularly positive for the residents, especially when it comes to water leaks and the like. So I'm excited about this. Anyone else? Okay, this is first reading on ordinance 1801-8. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. It passes unanimously. Item 16 is first reading on ordinance 01801-9. Councilman Camp.
$20,000 for Rosemont, and this is a correction for the 2017 budget money wasn't picked up, and it reauthorized it. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Camp, second by Councilwoman Love. Is there any discussion? This is first reading of ordinance 01801-9. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. It does pass unanimously. Item 17 is resolution R1801-5. Councilman Fennell.
Thanks, Mayor. This is a resolution to authorize the Parks and Recreation Department to apply for a local park and recreation fund grant. I so move.
Okay, motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilwoman Love. Is there any discussion on this?
How long would it take, generally speaking, for David, or anyone, before we'd know back on that? I know there's some civic groups that have been discussing help, sir? September. Oh, September, okay. Thanks, David.
We will provide for it in the budget in case we are successful. Resolution R18, anyone else wishing to say anything? Resolution R1801-5. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, please say no. It passes unanimously. Item number 18 is resolution R1801-6. Councilwoman Love.
Thank you. This is a resolution appointing the Retirement Plan Committee. I so move.
Motion by Councilwoman Love, second by Councilman Camp. Is there any discussion?
When do we meet on that?
When needed. Is that accurate, Ms.
Oh,
Johnson?
they'll tell you about once or twice a year, but it'll end up being a lot more than that.
I've been on the committees before.
I'll tell you, it'll be a lot more than that.
No.
By them smiling out there, yeah, it'll be a lot
No.
more.
Just for everyone's information, it appoints Michelle Gillette as the Finance Department representative, Jimmy Overton and Sean Fennell as the City Council representatives, James Spray as the employee representative from the Police Department, and Zach Wilkinson also as an employee representative from the Public Works Department. Anything further? Okay, this is Resolution R1801-6. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Does pass unanimously. Item 19 is resolution R1801-7. Councilman Camp.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution granting permission to apply for a TDOT special litter grant. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Camp, second by Vice Mayor Overton. Any discussion?
Did we discuss this in work session?
It doesn't have a match, as I recall. There's no match required, if that makes you feel better about it. Okay, this is resolution R1801-7. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. It does pass unanimously. That concludes the regular agenda and brings us now to other business. Is there any other business from this council that you'd like to bring forward at this time?
Yes, ma'am. And follow up on that Douglas Lane property out there, I'd like to ask the engineering, if y'all would, and it may be in some of that data that you gave us, I just overlooked it, would you do research on where that floodplain is out there on that creek out there as it pertains to the Langford request out there, and what that flooding does, what that road has done out there washing out around that bridge out there in flooding conditions? Because we all know if we take that, we're responsible for it, and Anthony's not anymore. And I don't want to take, personally, I wouldn't want to take on that debt when they haven't repaired it out there. So if you, somebody, engineer, somebody, just do the research on that, please, on that water condition out there in preparation before, because we're up to second reading on this thing, I believe.
We have a ways to go because a lot has to
in a
happen
couple of
before
weeks,
that can
yeah.
happen.
Okay.
Just as a reminder, as we discussed at the last work session, Mr. McCord is going to be bringing to you all a presentation that kind of has comments from all the affected departments that help you weigh the costs and benefits of the non-contiguous annexations that we're considering. And I think that will be very helpful as you look at these and make your decision. So he hopes to have that by the next work session. No, he hopes to have it in the next week or so.
I think second reading is up in the fine print, it's February the 8th.
The second reading will not happen until,
Remember, we have to have the interlocal agreement, so we've got a long way to go.
I was just reading a little bitty fine print that you have up there on our documents. You know, that's the reason I asked a question before. So.
when it's projected to you. Any other business from this council? Okay, seeing none. We will now have public recognition on non-agenda related items. If there's anyone here this evening that wishes to speak to something that's not on the agenda, this would be your time. We ask again that you come forward, introduce yourself, give us your name and address.
See if it's second.
Okay, I see no one indicating they wish to speak, so I will declare public recognition on non-agenda related items closed. I will say before we adjourn, we do have a work session that begins at 6 o'clock. We welcome you to stay for that, and we'll be starting that in about 3 minutes if we get a proper motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn by Vice Mayor Overton, second by Councilwoman Love. All in favor say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for being here, and be safe going home. We look forward to seeing you again.